Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to AFTD's 2023 Education Conference. I'm Sharon, Denny, AFTD's Senior Director of Programs, and we have a wonderful, wonderful program for you today. It's great to have you all here, and I hope you settle in for a terrific day. I want to offer a special welcome to everyone who's participating virtually. We're really grateful to see so many of you tuning in. Last year's conference featured over 1,000 virtual attendees from 29 countries, and we hope to exceed both those numbers today. I'd also like to extend a special welcome to all attendees who are currently living with an FTD diagnosis. Whether you're watching online or here in St. Louis, welcome. If you are here in St. Louis, know that you can take a break from the conference at any time. We've set up a specially designated quiet room for persons diagnosed and their care partners. It's located in the Westmoreland room. You can use the map on page 8 of your conference booklet to locate it, or you can always ask any of the helpful AFTD volunteers or staff who are present with us today. To our in-person attendees, I want to let everyone know that a photographer is on hand today to take pictures throughout the day. She'll do her best to avoid taking pictures of anyone who has requested to not be photographed. Try to make sure that the red sticker on your name tag is easily available. If you don't want to be photographed and don't yet have a sticker on your name tag, please stop by the registration desk and we'll give you one. To our virtual attendees, thank you for joining us via the AFTD app. Instructions for attending the virtual breakout sessions are on screen, and you should have received them by email. There are 3 virtual sessions to choose from in the morning and in the afternoon. Please note that you can attend a different breakout session from the one you registered for if you change your mind. We're back. There we are. Those of you in person can also sign on to the AFTD app using your smartphone, tablet, or laptop. To sign in using the email address that you used to register for the conference. And then the Wi-Fi network is here on the screen. It's the Marriott Bonvoy Conference, and the password is lowercase AFTD 2023. Many of today's sessions will feature the opportunity to ask our presenters questions. Anybody can submit questions via the AFTD app. When you select a session, a live discussion pop-up like the one you see here is going to appear. Click on the Questions tab, find where it says Ask a Question, and type away. In-person attendees can also write down questions on the index cards that are found in your conference booklets, in your conference bags, and pass them towards the end of the row. AFTD staff and staff members and volunteers will come by and pick them up and add them into the queue of questions to be asked. As noted, we do have a full agenda today, and we might not be able to answer all the questions live, but know that you're always welcome to contact us at the AFTD helpline, which is always available and is an additional resource to answer questions from today or questions that you might have anytime. This conference was made possible through the generous support of our sponsors. I'd like to take a moment to recognize our conference sponsors, particularly our generous platinum level sponsor, Prevail Therapeutics. I'd also like to recognize our gold level sponsors, Elector, Aviato Bio, Passage Bio, Denali Therapeutics, and Takeda. Thank you all for supporting our community today. Special thanks to our silver and bronze level sponsors as well. It's a very hopeful time for FTD research. There are more potential treatments for FTD in clinical trials than ever before, and we're excited to have these biopharma companies supporting the conference today. Many of them have tables here in person, and also have virtual booths through the app. We encourage everyone to take time during the breaks to stop by to learn more about the opportunities that are available and to participate in them if you're able to. And now I'd like to introduce Ann Fargusson, co-chair of our Persons with FTD Advisory Council, who's going to have some opening remarks for us.
I just need a reason.
Good morning. On behalf of the AFTD's Person with FTD Advisory Council, I want to welcome you to the 2023 Educational Conference. This is the 14th conference of AFTD has held, and in 2010, there was a breakout group for those living with the diagnosis of FTD. This year's conference will include networking breakfast, which we had, a preliminary session, and a breakout session planned by and intended for people with FTD. The Persons with AFTD Advisory Council consists of myself, Ann Fargusson, Teresa Webb, and we are currently the co-chairs of this group. It includes Bob Mada, Steve Perlis, Cindy Odell, Jennifer Lee, Sandy Howe, and Kevin Rhodes. Each person brings their unique qualities to the group from their past vocations and current experiences living with FTD. The purpose of the council is to ensure that the insights and wisdom of people living with a diagnosis of FTD are considered everywhere and everything that AFT does. It is also a forum through which we can inform AFTD board and staff about the lived experience of FTD and share the perspectives and knowledge gained by the living with this disease. We also advocate for those who can no longer participate in their pre-diagnostic lives. Kevin Rhodes, once a successful salesperson and healthcare technology, has a new diagnosis of behavioral variant FTD and recently discovered a new love of writing poems. Here is one of his. Battling behavioral variant FTD day by day, a condition that has come to stay. The challenges that our loved ones face is that we slowly lose our grace. Once our bright minds now in decline, memories and words slowly set to unwind. The things we enjoyed now forgotten, you are helplessly watching as we slowly change. Our life is slowly slipping in range. No cure for the course can make it right, just love and patience with all our might. For those who have trouble speaking, such as Jennifer Lee, once an active teacher, is now living with PPA, we advocate by the living word. Jennifer writes, when faced with aphasia, there are many unknowns. You used to speak fluently and correctly. When that ability fades, it can be overwhelming. One of the ways I have tried to help others with FTD and living with PPA is our Living Positively Facebook page, created by myself and Cindy Odell, who is also one of the council members. For those who struggle to walk because of the movement disorders caused by FTD, like supranuclear palsy, Steve Perlis, once a thriving attorney, advocates by walking. He walks 7,399 steps, and for 30 days in the month, it comes to, in 11 months, 2,441,670 steps. Shows you how committed he is. And all that pledge goes to FTD that he spends money for. To the people with FTD who are attending today, I want to encourage you to take advantage of the breakout session, especially the one the council is calling Building Your Own Toolbox. I also created an invitation on behalf of the advisory council to introduce yourself and say hello. We're easy to spot. We're the ones with the white ribbon at the bottom here. For those living with FTD, I would like to emphasize the importance of attending these yearly conferences, because here is where you meet people like yourself and other people in the same journey. So on behalf of the Persons with FTD Advisory Council, welcome and enjoy the day.
Thank you, Anne. Thanks for those remarks. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Nupur Ghoshal of Washington University. Dr. Ghoshal is an associate professor of neurology and psychiatry at Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis and is a clinical investigator for the Knight Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. Dr. Ghoshal has played an integral role in helping to plan today's event, and her support's greatly appreciated. Dr. Ghoshal.
Right. Good morning. Thought I'd keep that vibe going, right? So welcome to St. Louis. You see behind you, when you're outside, if the weather permits, the Gateway Arch. We're often called the Gateway to the West, and for today's purposes, will be the gateway to all things FTD. So please welcome for you to be here. I want to thank you for making the time to making this a priority today. We know there were many opportunities, many other activities this week for those among you who are Star Wars fans. Yesterday was May the 4th. Today is Cinco de Mayo, which FYI will be celebrated tomorrow in St. Louis, and the King's coronation. And despite all those opportunities, you made this a priority. But in all seriousness, we do thank you for taking the time. We've been overwhelmed by the registrants, both in person and in the virtual space, joining us today. That thank you comes with an apology as well for those of you who had to endure my FTD 101 talk. The idea behind that was to provide some common verbiage, language, conversation points to facilitate our discussions throughout the day and into the evening. Sharon already introduced me and what I do now, but a little bit of my journey into your world. So I trained at Northwestern University. Northwestern in the house, yeah, all right. I did my PhD work on the tau protein. And while I was very, very lab-based, I had the opportunity to work with Rush University as well in Chicago. And they had what was called a religious order study. So nuns and priests were very dedicated, would show up for annual visits, interviews, paper and pencil testing, MRIs, and so forth. So it's kind of ideally suited to take that, what I was learning in the lab, and pairing that with clinical information about how people were living and enduring with, in that case, Alzheimer's disease, but still very much focused on the tau protein, which is integral to our discussions today. Then came here to Washington University for my residency in neurology and my fellowship, and I trained under John Morris, who's in the audience as well. And what I learned during that time was working on a progranulin mouse model, so one of the other proteins that we talk about in FTD space. Happy to chat more about that as the day goes on. But during that time, I also came to learn about families with FTD that Drs. Morris and Goat had been following for years, and they really needed a person kind of to thrust that work forward. So that was me. As I was getting that funding together, Bruce Miller was very integral in that as well. It was a fortuitous time. So that was when other studies were coming into play, other consortia called ARPL and Lefties. So I was the site PI, site leader for both those studies at Washington University. Those studies have since been rebranded in the current funding cycle as All FTD, and you can hear more about that in one of our breakout sessions this afternoon. So at this time, I'm the site PI for All FTD and a related study, NSP, at Washington University Knight Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. So that's me in your FTD space in a nutshell. Look forward to talking to a number of you as the day goes on. And once again, welcome to St. Louis.
Thank you, Dr. Ghoshal. It's lovely to be here in your city. So now I would like to introduce to all of you AFTD's CEO, Susan Dickinson.
Good morning. I like that. And I've been asked to one little piece of business. Evidently, there's an AFTD Wi-Fi. You do not want that. You want the Marriott Conference Wi-Fi, as Sharon said. And again, that the password is AFTD 2023. Before our keynote presentation, I just wanted to take a moment to recognize someone who's been so important to AFTD and to our community. Dr. Murray Grossman, a founding member of our Medical Advisory Council, died on April 4th at the age of 71. Murray was a neurology professor at the University of Pennsylvania for 3 decades and was critical in helping to found AFTD, serving as the first chair of our Medical Advisory Council. Dr. Grossman authored or co-authored more than 600 scientific papers, with many of them focused on forms of young onset dementia like FTD. He produced influential work on diagnostic criteria for different subtypes of FTD and helped to shed light on ways in which movement disorders can also bring cognitive limitations. Some of his most recent studies focused on identifying biomarkers for diseases like FTD. He founded the Penn FTD Center in 2010, bringing together experts from a range of disciplines to improve FTD care, diagnosis, and treatment options. After his death, people have praised Murray's endless energy, collaborative spirit, and mentorship of countless contributors to FTD science. His legacy continues in work that builds on the foundation he helped to lay for our field. Many leaders in this community got their training and vital mentorship from Murray, and we know he leaves the Penn FTD Center and our entire field in extremely capable hands. It was an honor to call him a friend. I'll personally miss his leadership, guidance, and wisdom, and all that he did to enable and help expand AFTD's impact. Central to Murray's work was a deep sense of compassion for everyone in a family affected by any neurodegenerative disease. And I encourage all of us to bring that sense of compassion and connection to each other as a way to honor his seminal contributions to our community.